Hello and welcome to my tutorial series. Today I will be demonstrating how to cut and fit FlexTrack within AnyRail 5. So let's open up AnyRail from the desktop and get started. To save time, I'm going to open a previously saved file. In this demonstration I will be using Hornby and Pico FlexTrack, but the following processes can be applied to any of the FlexTrack available within the track libraries. So let's start by looking at the Cut Flex option. First I'm going to add the FlexTrack section from the Hornby library. Then, dragging the flex, I will line it up with the space I want to place it in. Depending on where you are fitting it, you may need to rotate the flex first. As I am fitting the first section into the gap between the Hornby express point and the double straight section, I will approximately align the right edge of the flex with the left edge of the point I am fitting it to. Then I'm going to right click the flex in the approximate area of where I want the left edge to be and select Cut Flex here. We now need to disconnect the newly created left piece from the right. We do this by right-clicking either flex length and selecting Disconnect. Then we can move the left flex piece to one side for now. This can be used to make another length of track later. It's time to fit the right flex track piece onto the layout. This is done by dragging the flex over the gap and attaching it to one side of the fixed track. Then we left click the black joiner on the unsecured side and dragging it in line with the other fixed section until the flex turns green. Release the mouse button and you should see the two white join dots appear at either end of the flex track. So let's move on to creating a straight flex section. This is much simpler than the cut flex procedure, but does require that you know the actual length of the space you are fitting it in. Let's for example take the space above the express point. We can determine the length by moving the mouse over the point and looking in the highlighted bar at the bottom. So in this example the length is going to be 245 millimeters, but remember, depending on what you have set your measurement units to, you may have to convert the 245 millimeters. In my case I have the measurement unit set to centimeters, so 245 millimeters will in fact be 24.5 centimeters for me. Now we have the length, we can now resize the flex. Right click the flex track, select straight flex, type the length into the box and click OK. The flex will resize. It is now a matter of dragging and dropping the resized flex track to one of the edges you want the flex to join to, and like before the white join dots should appear. I'm also going to right click the track and select the glue option. This ensures that this piece of flex track cannot be moved in any way. Okay, so now I've shown you how to fit straight flex. Let's move on to curved and easement flex. To create a piece of curved track, you will need the following two pieces of information: angle and radius. For example, to create a fifth radius curve to fit with the Hornby set track curves, the angle will be 45 degrees and the radius will be 639 millimeters. To calculate additional radii of curves, first you need to work out the differences between each radius of the existing curves. In the case of the Hornby track, each curve has a difference of 67 millimeters. So to make a fifth radius curve, it is a matter of adding 572 millimeters, the radius of the fourth radius curve, and 67 millimeters together. So to create the curve, you right click the flex track, select Curve Flex, type in the angle, which is 45 degrees, and then the radius, which is 63.9. Remember, I have to convert from millimeters to centimeters, and click OK. The flex is automatically shortened and curved, and we can now fit it to the layout. Now let's move on to easement flex. Easement flex is most useful if you don't have a set track curve to terminate a point. For instance, you could use the easement flex to terminate a Pico Streamline double slip SL90. To create an easement flex curve, you will need three pieces of information: the angle, the radius of the curve, and the direction of the easement, i.e. left or right. This will become clearer, if not already, during the next few steps. The angle of the SL90 is 12 degrees, so to create a right-hand easement flex curve to fit the double slip point, we need to add a pico flex section, right-click the flex track, select easement flex, set the angle at 12 degrees, the radius to 152.4 centimeters, which is equivalent to the radius of the pico large radius point, and select the right easement option. We then click OK, and the easement curve is created. The easement can then be joined to the rest of the track. Now let's move on to parallel flex. To add a section of parallel flex, right-click the flex you want to copy, then select Add Parallel Flex, type in the distance you want the new flex to be from the original section, then choose whether you want it above, below, left or right of the original, click OK, and the new parallel flex is created. And now we come to the manual method of resizing and curving flex. For example, you may want to transition from one track to another, which are slightly out of line from each other. The straight, curve or easement methods are not going to work here. To join a piece of flex track to two sections, move the flex to the space you want it in and drag the black joiners to either end of the disconnected track. If you're unhappy with the transitional arcs AnyRail automatically created, you can alter them by left-clicking and dragging the two control points along flex track as shown. I have one final point I would like to make before I end this tutorial, and that is if the flex track turns red during fitting, then you may have done one of the following. Either you have stretched the flex beyond its real world limits, or you have created a curve that some rolling stock may not be able to get around. Although the warnings can be turned off, which you will find under the settings tab, it is not recommended, but if you are working with scales other than HO or 00, then you may wish to change the minimum radius value. Thank you for watching. Coming up, I will be looking at how to create sectionalized track and how to apply gradients, how the layers feature can be used to organize your layout, and how the line and shape tools can be used to create custom objects.